Hey folks, after yesterday's disaster show where the internet went out and my backup internet didn't work and I went on my third try for internet, finally got it. My CDN wasn't receiving my signal, so I went to a backup CDN. Thunderstorm in the area, power went out, had all sorts of video problems, audio problems on Wednesday's April 3rd show. We've decided to rebroadcast today, April 4th. So if you're watching live, join us in the chat room. If not, enjoy us on YouTube. It was actually a pretty good show. Let's see if we can't get that show going for you right now. And it is time for That VidBlaster Guy. I'm Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy, and bringing you what I think is going to be a really good show. Today is sort of a rebroadcast of yesterday's show because yesterday's show was such a disaster. Does that ever happen to you? Well, it happened to me. It was like everything that could go wrong went wrong. And what do you do in those situations? Well, you keep your cool, number one, and you solve your problems one at a time, calmly, coolly, until you get it done. Doesn't help to panic, doesn't help to scream and shout and cuss, although I was tempted to a time or two. I mean, it was terrible. My primary internet went out. I tried my backup wireless MiFi card, and that wasn't getting a good connection at all. Finally went to my new Galaxy, well, new for me, Galaxy S whatever it is, S4, S3. Anyway, it's got a hotspot built into it. And it did a fairly decent job of getting me on the air, but boy, it just didn't have the bandwidth that I needed. And we were glitchy, had a bad driver in the audio somewhere. Took until after midnight last night to get that straightened out. But that's my problem. Anyway, wanted to give you another go at the content of today's show because we really did have some good stuff. And I want to make sure that we get it all to you. The premise of the show is that one guy with one PC can do one awesome broadcast. And I'm definitely one guy, and this is definitely one PC. That's all I've got here. And we're working on the awesome broadcast. We're getting closer and closer. And today's show is going to be a little bit about that. Somebody asked me the other day, Tom, why are you moving your show to Wednesdays? I had my Tuesday afternoons all blocked off for the show. You've messed up my schedule. Well, kind of had to move to Wednesdays. Part of it, a big part of it was when I started on Tuesdays, there was nobody broadcasting on Tuesdays. And it was a kind of a hole in the tech broadcasting schedule was Tuesday. So I thought, oh, Tuesday's a good day. I'll do that. And not long after I did that, my good friends over at TTFN TV, Mark Johnson and Vance Willis, decided to move their Studio Tech Live show from Friday to Tuesday. Well, that was okay because theirs started at 2 Eastern and mine started at 3 Eastern. Kind of cramped my pre-show a little bit, but, you know, that's okay. There's plenty of room on Tuesday. And then Stephen Haywood decided to bring back Broadcast Now, knock off all the mothballs off of it and restart it, which I really missed it, and I was glad he brought it back. And that started at 3 o'clock Eastern, which was right in the middle of my show. So I'm the new kid on the block. I decided I better just move. So we moved to Wednesday, and we've got all Wednesday afternoon wide open. So we hope you'll make Wednesday afternoons at 3 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock London time, a part of your regular schedule. If not, catch us on YouTube. We're there. And if you catch us live, join us in the chat room. And if you're on YouTube, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll get notices when we post new videos. Today, I do have to share a rookie mistake that I made, and this had nothing to do with yesterday's disaster. But last week, I was not pleased with something that was going on with VidBlaster, and I was using the latest release, version 2.27. And it wasn't really a VidBlaster problem. I think it was probably a PC problem. And so I decided to uninstall VidBlaster and uninstall some other software and then reinstall it. And when I did that, I decided, well, I'll kind of go ahead and upgrade from the latest release, 2.27, to the latest beta, 2.33. So I installed that. And then I realized, all my profiles of all the modules and interrelating modules that I had were 2.27. And when I uninstalled version 2.27, of course it erased all the subdirectories to go with it, like it's supposed to. And I had not backed up any of those modules. Oh, what a rookie mistake. And you would think that VidBlaster guy would have backed up his profiles, at least onto his hard drive, if not to his Dropbox or another PC somewhere. But I didn't, and so I had to recreate them. But, you know, that wasn't a bad thing all in all. I mean, yes, it did take an hour to put together this broadcast profile that I'm working with right now. There's about 30, 33 modules involved, and a lot of them kind of like this one. This one builds on itself. I've got the backdrop in here, and the backdrop is a great backdrop that my friend Dr. Charles Campbell sent to me as a present one day. Isn't that a nice present to send? And so that's my backdrop. That's a green screen. I mean, against a green screen. I've keyed out the green, and I've laid in the backdrop behind it. And then I've included myself as a camera, and then I've got my lower third that I've got in a video overlay module, and then it's kind of put all into one module. I've got it all bundled up together in a video effect module using the source overlay. And so I had a chance to rebuild all those profiles. And while I did, I said, well, I'll go ahead and rebuild one, and I'm going to build one with a different background. So when I'm doing a different kind of story, I can have a different background on it. And another one that I wanted to build, let's see if I can find it here. This is the one that I'll use in just a minute. That's got my my picture in a picture, so that I can have my question and answer. And it was a great fun to rebuild the profile. It was not what I had expected to be doing prior to the show. And of course, as I've already told you, yesterday's show was a disaster show. So I needed the time and I didn't have it. But, you know, that was the rookie mistake. That was the rookie mistake. Today's show is going to be mostly about the questions that I get. I get email and telephone questions every day. Well, not telephone questions every day, but certainly email questions every day and several telephone questions every week. And some of them are really good questions. And I wanted to take some of the better ones and discuss those with you now and the answers to them, because there may be something in these questions that you've been wondering too, or other people have been wondering. And so let me switch over to my my Q&A session here. And I'm using the VidBlaster picture-in-picture. And in my picture-in-a-picture, you see a little fuzz right there? Let me see if I can't get that fuzz out. I didn't take as much time getting this set as possibly I needed to today. So let's see, where's my Chroma Key module? And I just need to make a minor adjustment to the Chroma Key. Let's see if that helps. I can go like that. Oops, that's not the way I wanted to do it. Well, it looks like I'm going to have a little bit of fuzz in my white back there that I'm not going to be able to get out. Should have done that before we started the show today. My bad. Let's try auto key and see if that helps. No, well, that's what I get for starting before I'm ready to start. So even that VidBlaster guy didn't get it all straight the first time. Anyway, this is a picture-in-picture module, but it's actually using the output from a PowerPoint module. And this is the PowerPoint module. So I've got the ability to pop it up here behind me and use that for my question and answer. So when we do the questions and answers, which I hope will become a weekly feature, so send me your questions. Let's see if we can go, nope, can't go backwards to the end of it. We'll have to go through one at a time. So the first question comes from Paul in London. And he says, I noticed in a few videos you said you were using a Logitech 920 as your main cam, but then in another you mentioned you were using a camcorder. I've watched a couple of your videos on a 55-inch TV earlier, and they came out very clear. So just wondering, What were you using? I noticed that some of your guests had noticeably less quality of video image than you. Is there a reason for this, or is it just Skype that lowers the quality of the video signal? Well, Paul, those are great questions, and I really do appreciate you asking them, because video is what VidBlaster is all about. And if you don't have good input for VidBlaster to work with, then you're going to have crappy output. That's just the bottom line. The answer to your question is mostly. The Logitech C920 is the main cam. I'm using that camera right now, and I really like it. I think it has a great image. When I set up my VidBlaster broadcasting setup every day, the very first thing I'll do is go into the Logitech software and adjust the white balance and do some other tweaks to it. One of the tweaks is actually taking off the autofocus, so that as I happen to move around in the shot or move my hand up, it doesn't spoil the focus, and the camera doesn't sort of go out of focus for a second. So I take the autofocus off and do some other tweaks and get it set up. One of the things I've noticed in working with the C920 is that if I'll set the white balance before I do anything else, it makes setting my Chroma Key later in VidBlaster a lot easier, because the white balance, if it's off, sometimes the Chroma Key just can't get a good key. And that may be what's going on a little bit here with the snow in the white box. The C920 I use as my main cam. Occasionally I will bring in a camcorder when I want an over-the-shoulder shot of my desktop. And let's see if I happen to have one of those set up today. I don't remember. Yeah, here we go. Here's an over-the-shoulder desktop shot, and as you can see, it's a cluttered desktop. The camera that's producing this image is a Canon GL1, an old Canon GL1, and it's a standard definition camera. It has, I think, it has two settings on it. It has standard definition 4:3 and standard definition 16:9 aspect ratio. But for a good quick shot to show off, the orientation of what I've got here with my mixer and my monitors, my keyboard, and don't look at this, because we're going to be talking about that later. That's a surprise. Oops, wrong shot. There we go. Back to this shot. That's a great camera, and I'll use my Canon Vixia HF100, which is a high-definition camera, but not a very high-quality one. I will use that sometimes, and if you remember in last week's show, we talked about how that camera actually does some internal processing, so it has a little bit of delay in the video before it even gets to the PC. And so there was a noticeable lag. We were doing the finger test, and there was a noticeable lag in that camera, as opposed to other cameras that I was showing simultaneously. It wasn't the capture card, wasn't the PC, it was actually in the camera. I've actually got two Canon HF100s. Well, you can watch that video. Go to YouTube and look at last week's video for that one. The reason why the guests don't look quite as good, even though they may be using the exact same camera that I use, is because when I bring their video, or when they Skype in, I use the capture portion of a Camera One module to capture the video. At this point, either there isn't a way to do it, or I haven't figured out how to get the video directly from Skype without doing a screen capture of it. So you lose a little resolution, even though I'll try to make their image as big as I can, so that as I capture it and reduce it, it still has a pretty good resolution. I'm just working with a 2-monitor setup right now, and so I can't always give them the full second monitor. I've got VidBlaster here on my left monitor. Let's see, show you that shot again. Oh, let me cover up my surprise. Got VidBlaster here on the left monitor, and then I've got, oh goodness, the chat room, the task manager, Flash Media Live Encoder, and if I had a Skype guest, I would have the Skype guest over here on the second monitor as well. So that's why I look as good as I do. It's credit Logitech for having a great camera, and that's why guests don't look quite as good, although I need to figure out a way to hook up a third monitor. I thought I had a way, but apparently that didn't quite work out. I'll have another go at it. I'm looking forward to the new Logitech C930E that's supposed to come out in May. And so if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, it may have already come out. I think it's going to be priced between $120 and $130. And the big deal for this camera seems to be that it does like a super widescreen, almost like a panorama shot, but it's at very high resolution. And from what I understand, please don't take this as gospel, but from what I understand is that you can take portions of that image and use those and blow them up full screen, and that they'll still retain high definition, or at least a higher resolution than what you might be able to do otherwise. So I can imagine a situation where I might have, let's say, 4 people in a panel discussion, all 4 of them sitting at a table. And so I'm going to set up my what would be just a webcam for a wide shot, and then again at very high resolution, and then using VidBlaster's picture-in-picture capability, I could again take that shot, but then just crop down to speaker number 1, speaker number 2, speaker number 3, and speaker number 4, and then have the equivalent of what might look like 5 cameras. One is the wide shot, and then 1 shot for each one of the speakers. Or if there are 2 speakers that happen to be that are sitting next to each other and talk back and forth a little bit, I can crop a 6th shot for them. So with 1 cam, at least possibly we'll have to see, with 1 cam, I can get the effect of a 6-camera shoot. Doesn't change the angle, but does change the focus or the zoom. So that's Paul's question from London. Paul, thank you for your question. Let's go on to the next question here. This is Lee from Illinois. And Lee says, is there any way to take the program module picture, the output, and route it to a TV set or other monitor? Just the program picture, not the whole thing you see on the computer with the modules and the program picture. I'd like to be able to get up from the desk and walk to a Chroma Key wall and do a weather presentation. I just retired from being a chief meteorologist at a TV station after 49 years in broadcasting. Well, Lee, I think that's a great question, and VidBlaster is probably a great way to do that. The way to do that is to use the Video Out module. Now, you have to have VidBlaster Pro or higher to have a Video Out module. And the Video Out module allows you to select the program module or any other module virtually on the screen to use as its source. So if the program module has a source, if the Video Out module has a source of the program module, and what you see in the picture right here is my program module, that would be the source in the Video Out module. The destination in the Video Out module would be the second monitor. Of course, you have to have your PC configured for a second monitor. If you're using a TV set for a second monitor, it still has to be configured where you extend your desktop. You know how to do that. If not, you can Google extend your desktop, and there are lots of tutorials that show you how to do it. It's really a lot of fun to have all that extra desktop space by having a second or third monitor. But you can extend your monitor, and you'd have to do that obviously in advance of starting VidBlaster, so VidBlaster would know you had a second monitor there. And then tell the Video Out module that your destination is going to be that second monitor. You can use 2 monitors and a TV set if you wanted to have a splitter there between your second monitor and the TV set, so that you could have a larger image of the TV set and then your smaller image on your monitor. And that would give you the ability to have that second set that you could look at. Now, obviously, you're going to use Chroma Key and key out the background and key in your map just like you would at the TV station. And so basically, VidBlaster would allow you the same functionality that the TV station spent probably tens of thousands or maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars on. And the Pro version, which is the smallest version that has the video out module, retails for $495. It's not fair, is it? It's just not fair. But it sure is a lot of fun. Lee, that's a great question, and we appreciate you sending it in, and hope that you will come up with some other good questions in the future. By the way, I'm thinking, and I'd love to get some feedback from you guys on this, I'm thinking about just having a little thank you gift from that VidBlaster guy for folks that write in with really good questions that we use on the show. And I'm thinking that maybe, you know, I'm not a rich guy in VidBlaster, but I would like to say thank you for the folks that allow me to use their questions on the air. So I would give you, how about a $10 gift certificate to any VidBlaster purchase with that VidBlaster guy. So we're going to send Lee and Paul a $10 gift certificate. They can use it to buy their first copy of VidBlaster, or if they want to upgrade to a higher version, a higher edition, then they can use it towards that. One of the great things about VidBlaster is you can start at the home level with the home edition, which is $195, probably a lot less expensive than some of the other softwares similar to VidBlaster out there. And then as you decide that you have mastered it and you need more modules and you need more capability, like the video out, for example, or the video switcher or something like that, then you can upgrade to the next edition. So from the home edition, you could go to the Pro edition, and all you have to do is pay the difference in price. You have 100% credit for the money that you've already spent. I think that's a great idea. Wouldn't it be nice to buy a new car and drive it for a couple of years and then take it to the car dealer and say, okay, I want a new car and I want credit for the $32,000 I spent for this one. That would be great. Of course, if you really did it, they'd laugh you off the car lot. But VidBlaster wants you to upgrade and wants to help you do it. So you get 100% credit for anything that you've spent on your prior versions. Okay, let's go on to the next question here. And this question is from Leroy. Another great question. Leroy says, I want to place a PowerPoint presentation into a monitor on a virtual set. The monitor is set at an angle on the virtual set wall, and the PowerPoint presentation looks odd because it does not match the angle of the monitor. Is there a way to angle the PIP so that it will match the angle of the virtual wall monitor? Well, Leroy, that's a really good question, and I appreciate you asking that question. And that's one of those tricky questions. First of all, PIP, for folks that are not familiar with PIP, PIP is picture-in-picture. That's what this is right here behind me. It's a picture in a picture. It's not really on the VidBlaster Guy backdrop right there. It's something that I've just popped in. Let's see if we can show you. That's, whoops, that's, yeah, there it is right there. And we've just popped me in on top of it with my lower third right there. There you go. So you've got a PIP, and you want to angle it so that it gets in the proper spot in the monitor. Let's see, how would we do a monitor anyway? However it would be, where it would be angled on the side. And use the PowerPoint module for that. A little tricky. VidBlaster has the ability in the video effect module to do what they call a 3D. And let's see if I can set up, well, I should have had this set up already. You can play with it and see the 3D kind of gives you an angled shot, but the odds of that angled shot working out perfectly for you are probably pretty slim. What you probably have to do is go outside of VidBlaster for this one and take the picture that you would otherwise put in your PowerPoint presentation and bring it into Photoshop, and then use Photoshop to skew it and get it properly placed at the right skew so that it fits in the hole, and then output that as a JPEG or something like that. Drop that into your PowerPoint presentation and then proceed. Once you have the template set up, my guess would be that it would not take much to do the second, third, fourth, and fifth ones. It would be the first one that you would take the most time with. So that's how I would do it. I would take whatever image I wanted to have appear in the virtual monitor on the wall, and I would import that into Photoshop and use Photoshop to skew it, output that as a JPEG, import the JPEG, or place the JPEG in the PowerPoint module at the right location so that it appears right there, but skewed. Leroy, that's a great question. Appreciate you asking that question, and a gift certificate will be on its way to you shortly. I think I've got one more. Nope, I guess that's all the questions we've got. Let's see if I can get out of the way here. If you've got a question, I would love to have a go at it, and send them to me, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. If we use your question on the air, we'll send you a $10 gift certificate, good for a VidBlaster purchase from That VidBlaster Guy. And even if we don't use it on the air, I will answer your question personally. I have folks that email all times of day or night, and if I'm up all times of day or night, I'll have a go at it. And I have folks that call too. I don't recommend calling all times of day or night. But if you shoot me an email and you say, hey, let's chat about this, because, you know, sometimes trying to answer a question by email is a little difficult because sometimes I don't get all the information I might need in order to provide a good answer. So we could probably set up a telephone chat or a Skype chat or something like that. Anyway, questions to me, Tom Sinclair, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. I look forward to your questions, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's switch over to the next part. Well, I tell you what, before we do, let's take a little revenue break here, and I'll be right back after this commercial. Hi, I'm Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. One of the reasons why I started the show, That VidBlaster Guy, is so that I could show off the power and the ease of use of my favorite software, VidBlaster. Every week we do a live show that talks all about VidBlaster, and we have guests on that show how they're using VidBlaster and how they couldn't do what they're doing without VidBlaster. Anyway, you know the routine. The other reason why I started the show is because I'm a VidBlaster reseller. I want people, when they buy VidBlaster, to buy it from me. That way you get personal support from me, Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. You get my cell phone number. You get my email address. If you're in a jam and you need an answer, you've got somebody to call. Call me, Tom Sinclair. You can get VidBlaster from my website, thatvidblasterguy.com. There's a store there. Just click on the link and you can get VidBlaster, get a license to VidBlaster. If you need to upgrade, let's say you've got the Home Edition, you want to upgrade to the Pro Edition, you get 100% credit for the Home Edition that you already own towards your purchase of the Pro Edition, but it does have to be handled manually. So shoot me an email, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com, and we'll get that in the works for you. If you need great support for great software, call me, Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. And also, watch us on Tuesdays on the That VidBlaster Guy show. What does that guy know? Don't watch us on Tuesdays. Watch us on Wednesdays. I'm going to have to rework that. Goodness gracious. You know, when you move to a different day, it just messes everything up. Anyway, moving along in the show, one of our viewers and VidBlaster users and great client of mine, David Stemper, has taken VidBlaster and run with it. And he has built a PC, and he is going out and doing all sorts of cool stuff with it. And he sent me a couple of videos that I want to share with you. One is where he introduces his PC, and the second is where he actually shows one of the productions that he has made. So let me switch over to this shot, and I'm going to put it into action. And with any luck, we'll have audio on that. And so let's give it a go.
Alright, this is the rig I built for recording the performances. And what I did is I have it on this little cart. Got a yard sale for about $5. And I've got a power bar a power strip that I put all this stuff on there to plug it in. And then I just put a little 15-inch monitor on the front. It's not like I access much of any of the ports on the front anyway. It's a little keyboard and mouse. And then all the sound goes through the board up there. I don't have anything hooked up to it currently. But I can operate 4 cameras, different angles, back, front, 2 on the side. And works pretty well for me. A couple more performances should pay off everything. And I will show you what I've done with it.
Okay, so that's what David has built. And let me switch over to the second one, and let me show you some of what he's got going on.
Sing my song all day long, I don't need any money. Sing my song all day long, I'll just sing my song. From the counter to the trash, you're wasting my opinion. The food they sell is full of taste, but not much there to live on. Too much news on my TV, but no one tells the story. I don't trust the government, but I still love Old Glory. Sing my song all day long, I don't need any money. Sing my song all day long, I'll just sing my song. Paying tolls to ride this road sure seems rough and rocky. I wonder where the money goes, lining someone's pockets. I check my phone for all it knows, my ignorance is showing. A pile of maps to get me there if I know where I'm going. Sing my song all day long, I don't need any.
Well, that's pretty impressive, David. I tell you what. And David's got a great concept with this. He does it with both musicians and with comedians. And so we're going to have to get him on the show here in the upcoming weeks to talk about what he's doing and how he's doing it. And it's really pretty cool. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, number one, because I don't want to steal thunder from a future show. And I don't have David's permission to talk much more about it other than he sent this video, and so I wanted to put it on. Now, I did use a screen capture to capture both videos. So again, the quality that you see at home or at your office or in your car or wherever, you better not be watching in your car. Anyway, what you see is probably not as good, definitely not as good as his original image. So David, hat tip to you. Good work. Keep it up, and we got to get you on the show. I also had, and this is coming along interestingly enough, a email from Martin K. And Martin is a VidBlaster reseller in Manchester, England, and has been reviewing different pieces of hardware. And he sent me this picture and said, this is what Martin said. This is a single card. There are 2 multi-purpose digital/analog standard definition / high definition inputs, which can take either HDMI, DVI, VGA, component, and maybe composite, but that's not clear and I haven't tested it. In addition to that, it has 4 analog standard definition composite inputs, which I have tested. So it provides 6 inputs in a total on a single 4-lane PCIe card. Audio-wise, it has 2 pairs of left-right RCA analog inputs, plus both HDMI inputs appear as audio devices in VidBlaster. So at least it's possible to take embedded audio over HDMI. More to follow. Well, Martin, this is really pretty cool. And so if we're looking at the picture here in the top left-hand corner, we can see a dongle that has, looks like maybe a pair of whites and a pair of reds, and then 4 yellows. So we would think that's our 4 analog standard definition inputs and 2 analog audio pairs. And then there are several other dongles, and it's hard to see just where they would plug in. I don't know if they plug into the VGA kind of port there on the top left of that card, or the S or the DVI. That looks like a DVI port on the bottom. You can see the 2 white connectors in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Oh no, those are outputs. Well, we're just going to have to get Martin on to tell us more about this. So, hat tip to Martin K for coming up with a cool piece of hardware. Let's take one more look at that shot. I was looking to see if I saw a manufacturer's name on it. And I don't see a manufacturer's name. So Martin is keeping his cards close to his vest till we can get him on the show. So Martin, we're looking for you next week. Put it on your calendar. Wednesday now, Wednesday. And I think British are back on British summertime, so I think we should have our times in line. Anyway, Martin K, hat tip. Good job. Good job. Last part for this show, and I want to switch over to my closing out backdrop, is I got something cool in the mail today. And actually, I didn't have this yesterday when I originally did this show, so I'm really happy to share it with you now. This is a Korg NanoKontrol, and it is a MIDI device that connects to the PC by USB. Now, VidBlaster will accept controls from a MIDI device using the API. So I can't wait to play around with this rascal and use it as a control surface. One of the cool things about it, and I can't wait to see how it's going to work with VidBlaster's Instant Replay version 3, is it's got these sliders here that I think would allow you to adjust the speed of the instant replay on the fly, and perhaps the knob at the top could be used to actually reverse the instant replay, and then buttons, of course, to turn it off and on. It's got 9 rows, and I read through the directions earlier. Each one of these 9 is actually a sort of a subset with 2 buttons, a slider, and a knob. And then there are six other buttons over here on the side that look like kind of DVR buttons. And then one button down here called the scene button that allows you basically to program this board 4 different ways, and then you can change from scene to scene to scene depending on your needs. So if you're doing different types of broadcasting, let's say you do church broadcasting on Sundays, you have a weekly TV talk show, and then you do sports broadcastings on Friday nights, you could have one scene set up that would have all your church stuff set in it, one for your talk show, and then one for your sports broadcasting. Really cool. Can't wait to try it. It's a Korg NanoKontrol. Ran about $60, and it's small, fairly portable. It looks pretty durable. We'll have to give it a go and see how we come out with it. So that's the Korg NanoKontrol. So, folks, that's it for today's show. A little bit abbreviated because it's a rebroadcast of yesterday's show, but we hope you'll join us again next Wednesday live for that VidBlaster Guy. You can join in the chat room and talk to us, and come early for the pre-show and stay after for the post-show. That's always a lot of fun. And there's rumors that we're going to get together a Google Hangout after the show next week. So if that's the case, get ready with your lower thirds so that you can join the Hangout and tell us where you are, and get ready with a story to share, or a new device to hold up and show off. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. If I can help you with VidBlaster, shoot me an email. If you need to make a purchase with VidBlaster, you can purchase it from me, Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy, and get support directly from me by phone, by email, by Skype, whatever is best. I'm here to help. It's my pleasure to be on the air and bring you this message today. Remember, let's see, let me get this up here. If you have questions, shoot me questions, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com. Also, you can follow us on Twitter. I should have had a graphic up for that. Anyway, it's the @ and then VidBlaster Guy. No that, just VidBlaster Guy. So the @ VidBlaster Guy. Follow us on Twitter, and then you get notices of when we're starting pre-show and those kinds of things. And then also, if you'll subscribe to our YouTube channel, if you miss the show, whenever we post it up on YouTube, YouTube will send you a note so that you know, oh, hey, there's a new show there, so that you can, I would hope you would want to watch it. Anyway, let me put it that way. So anyway, we're at the end of the show here. It's been a delight to be with you today. I hope that you've learned something, and if we can help you in any way, let us know. Till next week, I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster Guy. Have a great week.